your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
This war stops now.
End the war. Bring freedom to our people.
No more tricks. No more lies. Only truth.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
Welcome to the Stop and Listen podcast. I'm your host, Jamie. Happy Saturday. I'm currently locked out of my YouTube account, so we'll see when this gets posted. That woman you've seen there at the beginning, that was Laken Riley, a woman who lost her life because of greed. Mostly, I don't know, greed. But the policies of politicians, people we vote, we give them power, and they set up policies that cause people to be murdered. Her father spoke in Georgia, asked Governor Kemp to declare an illegal invasion after a legal migrant was charged with murdering his daughter. Not judging what he's doing here at all, of course, without watching it first. But the previous episode, whenever you end up seeing it, he spoke and said that he hates it. It's turning into a political. Her death is turning into a political narrative, and I get it. But now he's in front of a bunch of politicians asking for change. So, what do you know? So let's hear what he has to say. Okay, so I have a little bit of a problem. The audio is almost non-existent. Okay, maybe this is a better file.
I stand before you a heartbroken man. Part of my purpose has been taken. God gave me a beautiful daughter to father, protect, provide for, and nurture. A man with an evil heart stole her life. He was in this country and in this state illegally. My vision for every senator in this chamber is that you protect citizens from this illegal invasion. Please recognize over 1 million illegal aliens are in this state and making families nervous. Please recognize Athens Clark is a sanctuary city, and this policy and the lack of action led to the murder of my daughter. There are a few of you in this chamber that are standing up and working on a solution to protect us. For that, my family is thankful. Laken is thankful. Governor Kemp, please declare an invasion.
Let's bring that back a moment. Let's bring this back a moment.
There are a few of you in this chamber that are standing up and working on a solution to protect us. For that, my family is thankful. Laken is thankful.
No, she's not. It's part of the grieving process, I would assume. She's not thankful. I mean, I don't know. Let's hope and assume that Laken is in heaven, and then maybe she's, hoping that no one else joins her up there. Of course, that's inevitable. So,
Governor Kemp, please declare an invasion to detain and deport criminal illegals so we can prevent future families from those tragedies.
So that's what we're dealing with. I seen this story. Boy, 9 years old, strangled rabbits at petting zoo and walked off showing no emotion. He's a psychopath in the making. I mean, would you hope that he was sad or happy? I mean, how does a 9-year-old get that way? If you read on, I read this story already. A young boy strangled 9 rabbits and 2 guinea pigs to death during a solo trip to a petting zoo in the Netherlands. So this isn't, a local story. It's an American story of a very disturbed boy. And that's always, sadly, that's not a new trend. A psychiatrist, Esther von Fenenema, said of the incident, "I feel sorry for the animals." Like, it's a shame, but no, I felt nothing for the animals. Zero. So it kind of goes to show you the mindset of this psychiatrist. I feel sorry for the animals. Really? Really? I mean, I wouldn't like celebrate it. Obviously, it's like... But also, the little boy apparently feels so bad that he has to do this. No. This is not... That was not the acting out of... That was not the acting out of emotion. That is a lack thereof. He was trying to feel emotion. And apparently he has some very negative presence in his life. And that was him acting it out. Trying to. That's scary. And we're gonna have I'm gonna have a theme here at the beginning. And I'll get into a little bit of political crap here in a little bit. But now in my neck of the woods, from Fox 2 Now, student threat at Wentzville North Point High School. So this week, apparently there was we had close to a school shooting. Well, in the school district in which, where I live. Yeah. So the day of this uncovering of this threat was the Wentzville School Board meeting, which has been contentious. Not about school shootings, but about the claims of racism and LG or trans bathroom crap. So I was going to go. I've decided that I'm going to give a brief and impassioned speech to the crowd talking about cameras in the classroom. We need cameras in the classroom. We need cameras in the classroom because students can go in there and watch if they missed a lesson or didn't understand it, or maybe they can bring their parents in, and maybe the parents can communicate what the teacher is trying to explain better than the student can comprehend. But parents will be watching, and that's what that can turn this country around pretty quickly, honestly, probably quicker than anything else. So certainly anything that any Republican can do. And so I want to get the ball rolling. I tweet about it. I talk about it on this podcast. I'm just waiting for one person to pick it up and with more influence than me and retweet it or whatever. But that was my plan. I was going to go there. I wasn't going to speak this one. But then on my local Facebook page, when the talk was that... all right, let's go up there. This is bull. So there was gonna be. It was probably gonna be quite something. A lot of emotion filled with the threat of a shooting. So I steered clear this month. Something else we're dealing with. Okay. So here is. There was a fight. That's what they're calling it. A kerfuffle. They're practically calling it a little dust up. A little bit more than that. It happened in Hazelwood, Missouri. FYI, for context, look over a little bit southeast of Hazelwood, 2 towns over, is Ferguson, Missouri, where all the rioting started. So if you haven't, I have not seen this horrible. I haven't seen this. I can't watch this. People stood around watching while this girl's head was smashed into the concrete. She's has severe brain swelling. She hasn't woken up yet. She probably never will. And then her family has come out recently saying that she's a victim of bullying and she speaks 4 languages. So it's just not right. As I've mentioned before, Andrew Bailey is the Attorney General of Missouri, filing lots of lawsuits against the Biden administration and so forth. He launches an investigation into Hazelwood School District's DEI programs after senseless teen beating. Okay, when I first heard that, I'm like, is that really the place to go with this? But I think 15, I think she was. Because Bailey has been advocating that the person be tried as an adult. This girl, I don't know if she was I don't know if this girl was 15 or 17. I'm guessing 15 because there was a little bit of like 17 would be a little bit less question on whether to charge her as an adult or not. So I'm thinking it's 15. Anyway, irregardless. This girl's this girl grew up right next to Ferguson. She grew up saying how racist this country is. She's seen the towns around her burn. I don't know how much happened in Hazelwood. But she's been told how racist everything is, and she was beating the head of this white girl into the concrete. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, people of two different races can get into a disagreement and have a fight, an argument, or a fight, and not have anything to do with race. We don't know. But was this girl? Was she acting out? Was she representing? Was she making up for historical injustices? That is what hate brings you. That is what hate gives you. That we're living in a world of hate. I seen this video.
The 2-minute video is
I posted 11 days ago. Now, they're not going to show very much because of being children.
Filled with yelling and profanity between a 5th grade girl and a 6-year-old boy riding a Nile school.
When I was in school, you could fight somebody. I mean, there was no rule, but it felt like you could fight somebody you're younger. If you're fighting anyone younger than that, you're beating up a child, regardless of age. Like a 9-year. So this is a 5th grader, and assuming they're on, they haven't been held back. We're talking about an 11-year-old beating a 6-year-old.
Yelling and arguing with each other, and both students can be heard calling each other names and using foul language. That is why we muted the audio. The first incident occurs after the young boy tries to swing and hit the young girl's phone out of her hand, and the girl jumps up and punches the boy 2 to 3 times. Then after continued arguing, and about a minute later, the girl punches the young boy again for about 8 to 9 seconds. WSBT 22 has confirmed that there was an adult assistant on board, along with the bus driver. Niles Community School Superintendent Daniel Apple.
Why are children are being desensitized to violence by the rhetoric of politics? And I don't know how well you can see it. There's a difference in the color of these two skins. And that's really irrelevant because it's about how people are treating each other. It's how people... I'm at a loss for words. I don't understand this. And this doesn't stop. Now, I watch a lot of podcasts, and I really try to not cover things I've already heard from other podcasters, which can be difficult. But if I do, I cover it in a different way, or take a different angle. This, I got from Matt Walsh, and so I've just listed where children are acting as animals. But here's a story. An Ohio woman left her 16-month-old daughter alone for more than a week while she vacationed, leading to the girl's death. She was sentenced to life in prison, exactly where she should be, without the possibility of parole. I actually got it right. Crystal Candelaria, 32, left her daughter Jalen alone and unattended at her home in Cleveland on June 6, 2023. Authorities say she did not return until June 16th. According to prosecutors, Candelaria traveled to Detroit and Puerto Rico. She returned 10 days later to find the girl unresponsive and called police. The child was pronounced dead at the home. She was discovered in a playpen. Soiled with urine and feces. The county's medical examiner determined that the 16-month-old died of starvation and severe dehydration. Her own child. A woman did that to her own child. Why don't we value life? So, I watched Tim Pool. Tim Pool's an interesting feller. And I don't remember the guy's name, but I was watching an episode this week, and he had a guest, and he said he wanted to reduce abortion to the minimal level, and he would not call it murder. He would not take a strong stance on when a life became a life. And I didn't want to get into a lot of the heavy stuff on this podcast. That was my intent was bringing people together, and that doesn't change, but my angle of attack, I think, is going to be different because I'm going to speak truth. This is how we've gotten here. Because people can dispose of their children with no condemnation. They might even shout it. They might even celebrate it. This is why we treat each other this way. We don't value life. So no. And Matt Walsh made a great point when he was speaking about this, saying that if we have a death penalty, it should be for a person like this. And I get it. But see, I want us to come together. And yes, I get the argument on why that person should be put to death and an unborn child should not be. But for somebody who doesn't believe in good and evil, the adult murderer is just malfunctioning to the person who thinks that we evolved from fucking fish sticks, I guess. But I want to win the hearts and minds of as many people as possible. I want people to stop dying. I want babies to stop dying. I want people to stop being beaten to death. And all lives matter. Even that horrible person. I hope you find God in prison. I hope you suffer in prison. I hope you're punished for what you've done. And you're exactly where you should be. But how... I almost said it again. How did we get here? No, I just said how we got here. We don't value life. We don't cherish it. Now, something I think might help us get on the right track. So, they just passed another omnibus. They just passed a omnibus. Ominous omnibus bill. Omnibus. It doesn't sound right. Omnibus. Okay. They just passed a huge bill to go onto Biden's desk. Trillions of dollars. That money apparently goes to educating Egyptians in Egypt. It just goes to it goes to abortion, and a lot of Republicans voted for it. Enough people voted for it, and it passed. Thankfully, my rep didn't. I was quickly to find out I was going to attack, and the next one over did, and I tweeted him. We have to start harassing these people and holding them responsible for what they are doing to us. They are doing this to us. We vote for them, and they immediately just... But we may have found somebody who might bring about some change.
Pressure in here in Colombia is for me to not even vote red on the board. Y'all might not know this. A dark money entity that was created on Tuesday, the day after after we voted for this, I went home and an attack piece went out in my whole district about the fact that I voted for this. I get that the people in Columbia, that the lobby wants me to either not vote or to vote green on this. But my constituents want me to vote red, and they want their tax money spent on core government functions, on their roads, on their schools. That's what they want their money spent on. So they don't want us in here trying to play this government planning thing where we in our bureaus can figure out where the job should be, who should be employed, how much money should be allocated where in the private sector. It never works. It's socialism. It's never worked anywhere before. So what are we doing trying to do it here?
But would you consider the fact that South Carolina's track record of bringing major projects into this state has a winning record, and therefore, again, commerce should be listened to rather than those people back in your district that may not have ever brokered a deal, may not understand what it means of being a project, may not understand economic incentives. So what you're suggesting is we should listen to the people back home in your district rather than the people at commerce that have been successful at bringing these mega deals to South Carolina.
Mr. Rutherford, I don't think that you could have espoused a philosophy that disagrees more fundamentally than me. I completely disagree with you, and I think that you believe what you just said. But no, I 100% am going to listen to the people back home who I represent in this house, and you should listen to the 40,000 people in your area, and not the bureaucrats at commerce, and not the lobbyists, and not the multi-billion-dollar international corporations. You should listen to your constituents like I am. So yes, I will always fall back on the common sense of the wonderful people from Taylor's and Greenville Eastside, far more than I will ever listen to unelected bureaucrats, other representatives in here who have been here for far too long and have maybe managed a whole lot of these deals, and far more than I will ever listen to any member out there.
So, Mr. Morgan, we don't...
See, folks, we need more men like him. In fact, I was not planning on this. Where is he from? Little side note. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. So, Candace Owens is finally out of the Daily Wire after her battling with Ben Shapiro. And it's odd, like, it's always the Daily Wire that's involved in this, in these conflicts. Like, there was Crowder last year, and now her, and I mean, they went after Ben went after Milo, or Milo went after Ben, I think. But it always has to do with Daily Wire. But like, I'm not a Daily Wire like devotee. I mean, I do like Matt Walsh. Shapiro's okay for some stuff. Klavan's insightful, but I don't really watch him much. But like, they don't really seem like they're at fault. It's very odd though. Like, I don't really blame the Daily Wire. Like, the Crowder thing, they gave him a contract. He didn't like the contract, so he just torched their relationship. They basically, that's how they do things apparently. I mean, Tim Pool has mentioned it. Dave Rubin has mentioned it. But anyway, it was not a good fit. She has said some borderline anti-Semitic things. But anyway, like Crowder kind of seemingly has lost it. Sometimes he's okay, sometimes he's intolerable. He's ruined his show for sure. Like, sometimes I can only make a few seconds of it. Occasionally there will be some vintage Crowder and I'll watch. Like Candace Owens, I like a lot of what she says, but she doesn't seem like a very likable person. Like, I don't know. And that's what the funny thing is. Like, there's so many people like I follow and agree with their stances, but like, I'm not sure if I would want to hang out with them or go to dinner with them. I found them. So there's a gentleman. Okay, so in North Carolina, The lieutenant governor, his name is Mark Robinson. He's running for governor of North Carolina. I thought his name was Mark, and I couldn't find it. I had nothing saved.
Because our story is a great story. Our story is a story that's deeply rooted in North Carolina. It is the story of North Carolina. A story of being the underdog, a story of being the person who had to come back, the person who had to overcome obstacles to see a better day, just like North Carolina herself. You all know my story. Number 9 of 10 children, growing up in an extremely poor household. I'm looking out here right now, I'm looking at my brothers out here. I've got brothers out here in the audience, and I'm looking at them. I've got guys out here that are not my blood brothers, but are practically my spiritual brothers that have been through the same things that I've been through. They've seen the days of poverty. They've seen the days of hunger. They've seen the days of struggle. But like North Carolina herself, we've risen past that to see a better day. And we stand here on this stage now.
See, that is something, just the way he's speaking about North Carolina, referring, giving North Carolina pronouns. But in this respect, I like it. I like it because he's speaking about his state with reverence, like something he cares about. It's just a patch of land with some imaginary lines drawn around it. And it has a bad history. But look how he's speaking about it. I mean, if a person is at their lowest point, full of despair, do you disparage them and tell them, yeah, you deserve this, you're horrible? Or do you point out the good things and give them something to build upon? That's what this man's doing right here, I believe. And we need that. We need that a lot.
The woman who I credit with making me the man that I am is my mother, Eva Mae Robinson. A woman who was left in 1979 with 5 children in her house. And she had a choice between welfare and work, and she chose work. And she worked her fingers to the bone to take care of her children and set a standard in her life. I would not be standing here right now if it was not for her. In fact, I am standing on her shoulders right this moment. I stand on the shoulders of my mother and all of those who came before me to lay the groundwork that made it possible for me to stand here as the first black lieutenant governor and possibly the first black governor of North Carolina.
I hope he is a stand-up man, and I hope he continues on after governor of South Carolina. North Carolina. Yeah, it's north.
Those who want to go into the mud, feel free. Where we're going is we're going towards the substantive issues that all North Carolinians face. The things that will make North Carolina great, that will take her to her next level of success.
That kind of annoys me. Like, that didn't sound too bad. North Carolinians, or they every state or even town, they try to throw an Indian, like, I'm a Missourian, I'm a Californian, like, okay, like that's because that's how the word ends, California, so putting an N on the end, okay, not a big deal, but it's super annoying. Just the people of North Carolina, the people of Missouri, the people of Dusseldorf, or wherever we're talking about.
Those are those important things, education and our economy. Those are the things we're going to focus on. When it comes to our economy here in North Carolina, my vision is to see to it now that we've come out of the economic doldrums of 2010 and prior, where we were $3.4 billion in debt to the federal government, and we're furloughing state workers, and teachers didn't get a raise for 6 years, to now a day where we see through Republican leadership that we now have a $5 billion surplus. We're giving teachers raises, state troopers raises. Everybody wants to come here and do business. We're the #1 business destination 2 years running. But I would submit to you now the vision, the call, the mission is to grow this state, to grow its...
There's so many cities. It's Pittsburgh. It was covered recently in Pittsburgh. Basically, I'm saying like, yeah, you go out at night in Pittsburgh. Keep your head on a swivel. Essentially was the announcement. So, but if like, I mean, Pennsylvania is not a conservative state. It's like the battleground state. I also think Georgia is too. But if cities want to elect to if cities want to elect to like defund the police and divert funds to other avenues, can't the state police step in and just, I don't know. And then the county, I mean, the county's probably going to go not much different than the city is. But what if a city says, oh, you know, we don't really need much police, and the state police come and say, oh, yeah, you do. I wonder if that's possible. And why we don't see it. Maybe it's not possible.
Economy, as we like to say, from Murphy to Manio, so that every part of the state has economic opportunity. I believe the way that we do that and sustain that is by having a great education system and making reformations in our education system, removing agendas from the classroom and getting back to classical education, reading, writing, and mathematics, civics, history, and all those things that teach our children how to be great citizens of this constitutional republic, teaching them the values and giving them the skills they need so that they not only succeed inside of the classroom, but they take what they've learned in that classroom, outside of that classroom, and succeed in life. That is the goal. So, folks have heard a lot about me throughout this campaign. Much of it has been false. Those of you all who know me know who I am.
See, I'm not aware of any of that, of what accusations have been thrown at him.
The state of North Carolina has been doggone good to Mark Robinson. From the time I was a little poor kid growing up right here in Greensboro, over off of Logan Street, to the time I was a young man in the United States military, to the time when I was a young father, struggling to take care of my family, to this very moment standing on this stage as the Republican nominee for governor of this great state. This state has been doggone good to me. And now,
Appreciation. He's showing Thanksgiving.
Of gratitude that I have to this great state and its people. I look out across this group of people who are standing in front of me now, and I see the struggles and successes that symbolize North Carolina. I look at each and every one of you, and I see folks that I worked in furniture with. I see some people that I worked in the restaurant business with. I see some people out there that probably know somebody from Canton or Asheboro where their industry was shut down and their jobs were lost. We're here for you. We understand you. You see, I have an opponent that doesn't understand any of that. I have an opponent who doesn't understand what it's like to be at work and have the boss man come and take you to a room and sit you down and tell you, we're moving this plant to Mexico, and there's nothing you can do about it, and now you have to go find another job. I know the sting. I know the sting of the bad federal policy that causes that. And I'm here for the people of North Carolina for it. Now, people will ask me, what's the difference?
I mean, people can lie and deceive and more so being corrupted by politics as soon as they get a bit of power. I hope this man is legit. We need more men like him. Speaks plainly. Speaks the truth, sounds like.
Between you and your Democratic challenger. The answer is simple. I'm part of a winning team. He's part of a losing team. What do I mean by that? His team had us $3.4 billion in debt to the federal government. His team had us furloughing state workers because we couldn't afford to pay them. His team had teacher pay frozen for 6 years. My team turned that around, built a $5 billion surplus, made us the #1 business destination in the nation 2 years running, and has set us on a course to make North Carolina an absolute economic superpower. The The differences could not be more clear. We have a choice in November. Return back to the days of 2010 and the economic doldrums that plagued us, or move forward into an economy that spans from Murphy to Manhattan. I'm sure the people of North Carolina will make the right choice. Now, before I leave the stage, I'd be remiss if I didn't say a few thank yous, personal thank yous. One of the big thank yous I want to say, of course, in this, is my wife. My wife has been with me by my side, and those of you all who have never run a campaign, you know if your family's not with you, you're behind. My wife has been right out front, and she has been there with me. She's even been attacked in this race some, but we weathered it. We stood tall. We didn't get down in the mud. We stayed up on that shining city, on a hill, so to speak. We were that example that needs to be made here in this state. We stayed above the fray. We talked more about our vision than we did about our opponents. And we see the victory now, and she's part of that. So I thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. I also want to say a personal thank you to my campaign consultant, Conrad Porgozelski. This young man is in his 20s. And I remember the first time I met him, I said, I thought I was calling a political consultant, not a high school student. But this young man has driven our campaign to the heights of success, and I know that in November you're going to drive us towards victory, and I'm looking forward to it. I love you. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
No mention of God yet. We've got less than 30 seconds.
A personal thank you to each and every one of you in this room. But you all know how much I love you. All the faces out there that I'm looking at right now, you know how much I love you. The last thing I have to say to you tonight is this. Let's go win in November. Paint this state red. God bless you. And God bless the great state of North Carolina. Thank you.
Oh, Cuban.
This past weekend at CPAC Texas 2022, North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson delivered a scorching tirade against the American left wing. Robinson, a devout Christian and hard-right politician, lambasted the Democratic Party with charged rhetoric and warning of encroaching communism. Robinson was elected as North Carolina's first black lieutenant governor in 2020 and has embraced the culture wars while building a national profile at national conservative conventions like CPAC. He is considered a potential...
I don't know if you embrace culture wars
and a rising star in
when you're trying to fight it.
They told me I had 12 minutes. I don't see anything on the screen, so I guess I'm with y'all for the rest of the evening. Not going to use that podium. I can't stand still. I got vertigo. I might fall off this stage. Very first thing I'm going to do is always, I'm going to give thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. That's the very first thing I'm going to do.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
I sat on the 27th floor of this hotel last night and looked out over the skyline of Dallas, Texas. I am a poor kid from Greensboro, North Carolina, an alcoholic father who died when I was 12 years old. My mother made me the man that I am. Every strike that the left says I had against me. Poor, black, a widowed mom, living on the wrong side of the tracks. But that poor black kid from the wrong side of the tracks was sitting on the 27th floor of this hotel, overlooking the Dallas skyline as the first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina. America is still the greatest nation on earth. And I don't care what these communists say. I don't care what these socialists say. I don't care what these blue-haired freaks say with a tackle box in their face at the college campus. This is the greatest nation on earth, and it's all because of God. He's the one that made it possible. So we give him thanks first and foremost.
On that note, we're going to move along. But Mark Robinson, I will follow your career. I hope we hear a lot from you. I'm going a little bit long. Brookings County SD, I'm guessing South Dakota, begrudgingly allowed election denier Rick Weeble 5 minutes to voice his concerns on election software being used. It only took him 4 to drive his truck through their illusions of what they thought was a secure system. Alright, let's do this here.
And I'll just tell you flat out that it does conform to the certificate that is published by the EAC. 4 of our counties also have this same type of hard drive. What I can show you immediately is that I was able to take a forensic copy of that hard drive and actually boot up the electionware system on a non-conforming laptop. That is a complete violation of the certificate, which required that the trusted platform module be enabled. It would be impossible normally for that hard drive to go off of a certified machine that is communicating with its chip to be able to boot up on here. And the other piece of evidence that I have of non-conformity is that you will notice that I have a thumb drive on the side of it. That thumb drive is a BitLocker key that is used to basically allow the security of the laptop to boot up. That is another violation because what is supposed to happen is it should be on an official Laken thumb drive that is supposed to be serialized and secure. But just giving you 2 pieces of evidence. I've also shown another piece of evidence in other states that have published in lawsuits because their auditors and attorney generals and state's attorneys did not do due diligence of publishing the manuals online in the court cases. Sheriff Stanek can confirm on page 10 of this manual, the default administrator user and password is publicly available on the internet. And I have that copy here, and I go to Sheriff Stanek, page 10, and he can confirm that the password is there and not redacted. The other manuals for the complete system, including the PS200, 450, and 850, all of those passwords are available online. We're also aware that when C-Chain was in charge of the elections during the last few years, the default password was election 1. And it was universal across all the states that they were operating in. Thankfully, we're using ESNet directly, and they should be changing those passwords. My recommendation is that the password should be different for each of the machines. Don't use the same password across the spectrum so that you can help the way. The other piece is that you're probably wondering if I can even log in to this laptop to actually get in. Yes, I can, and there it is going in right now. So I have been able to even circumvent their security and default the password to whatever I wanted it to be. And there is the electionware software. And yes, now I have the ability to decrypt the thumb drives of this county and any other county across the United States that's using electionware 6.1.1.1. So we can view the cast vote records and ballot images. So the fact that now I've just shown you this piece of evidence, I understand that my life is at risk and that the United States does not want this to be known, that this software is available on the dark web, the manuals are publicly available out on the internet in multiple states, and our elections are not secure, and we should be requesting immediate change orders of PS&S to update the antivirus. They have not even updated the security patches of this laptop since 2019 or the antivirus since March 29, 2019. The 4 counties that use this laptop in our state are 100% at risk. Also, the DS200s, 450s, and 850s have no antivirus on them whatsoever. So if you get a new thumb drive from ESNS and plug it in, even this laptop is unaware of potentially the last 5 years of vulnerabilities that have hit the U.S.
Wow. That's of note.
And I'll just tell you.
Wow. Yeah, I don't have anything to add. I spoke about this poll from Rasmussen the last episode, and I'm not sure. So what they did was, okay, they clarified the language. So they said 3% of Twitter users believe in a Trump lie, opposed to 40% of people who don't use Twitter believed a Trump lie. But this is now getting more specific. that about the bloodbath comment that Trump made about the auto industry. And it also adds that 60% of voters say the media is the enemy of the people. I mean, the media, but the politicians are stealing from us, making our economic situation worse, making healthcare worse. Tell me how our elected officials aren't our biggest obstacle into freedom and happiness. Because it's unfortunate how ignorant people are, but there are options out there. You just got to inform them. And if they choose to be ignorant, I mean, eventually the Fox News, MSNBC, CNN crowd will start dying off. And I mean that because of their average viewership. Like, apparently the average viewer age of MSNBC is like 72, Fox is like 68, and CNN is like 67, something in that range. Don't quote me on it, but yeah. So I mean, once those people age out, and those networks are gonna fall and fall hard. Shit, I'm already at over an hour. Anyway, I mentioned the omnibus bill. I think I said that correctly. That they jointly passed. I guess this is kind of a visual representation of the House vote. More Democrats supporting it. But yeah. Oh yeah, like Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania is giving like $400,000 to a podcast. There's $850 going to a gay senior citizen home. See, this saying over and over again saying over and over again that the media is the enemy of the people. It's like, who? I mean, like, so I don't know if I necessarily. I don't know what I call media necessarily per se, right? Like Tim Pool. I get information from Tim Pool. And when the whole TikTok ban thing out, and all the people I hated said it's good legislation, and all the people I liked said it was bad legislation, and Tim Pool said no, it's not what the people I like. They're saying it's bad. They don't know what they're talking about. And so I'm like, oh, I was very confused. And then Tim Pool said, oh, actually, I didn't understand. He came, yeah, I mean, he did the honorable thing and said he was wrong, but still. I didn't read it myself. That's the problem. Here we go. So, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, a representative from Georgia, has filed to vacate Mike Johnson, to boot him. So essentially, I think that requires a vote, and the Democrats will do what they did with McCarthy and vote, and most likely they'll get him out, and then there'll be a fight to see the new one, and there's a good chance that they will have to go with the Democrat minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries. But he sold us out. I mean, millions of dollars, I think, or billions. I don't. Educating Egyptians in Egypt. Nothing towards our border. But we got Paul Ryan, and Mike Johnson here. Just and to finish things off, execute. Jocko Willog at 4:32 Friday. He posted this. That's what he does. He sometimes it'll be a watch. Sometimes it'll be piles of sweat on the ground. He's an amazing man, and could you imagine if that's what our president of the United States did, was go and have like an intense workout at 4:30 in the morning and then went and governed the world? Jocko for president. So, I'm going to wrap things up, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a great weekend, and show some love to your fellow humans this weekend, you know? That's all we can do. We got to fight this, and we fight it with love. I'll see you next time. Bye.
This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time.
This war stops now.
End the war. Bring freedom to our people.
No. No more tricks. No more lies.